Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Will's Vlog Zone here today. So today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to transform your boring Minecraft house into a awesome Minecraft house that can move. We're on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe and like today's video to get us closer to our goals. Now let's get right into today's video. Alright guys, so this is how we're going to be doing it in today's video. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to build this monster of a redstone machine. I looked up a tutorial on YouTube on how to make a movable house in Minecraft. So I'm essentially going to be doing what I saw in that tutorial to give you guys my own kind of version of the tutorial on how to build the house. Now, let's get started. Alright, so let's start building. So, first of all, I need to say, all the blocks that you will need for this build are what's in my hotbar right now. I don't know the exact amount of each block you would need, but all the blocks you need are in the hotbar. I followed a YouTube tutorial, which is how I figured out how to build this monster of a redstone machine. I'm essentially going to be recreating that tutorial to show you guys how to build it. But I'm going to be, you know I'm talking while I'm doing it, so let's just get started. So first of all, you need to place 3 iron blocks in an orientation like this. Then you need to come back and place 3 more iron blocks in the same orientation. Just like such, about 7 blocks behind the previous set. Then you place 3 blocks in between the 2 pairs of these, and you do the exact same thing in the back like this. Now, all legs for this machine are basically the exact same. So what I'm going to do is show you guys in detail how to build one of them and then just time-lapse the rest to save your guys' time and patience. So next, you need to place 4 honey blocks like this, then 2 above it, and then 1 redstone block right here. You need some filler blocks, so I'm going to use some iron like this. Then you get a sticky piston right there, just like that, and then you get rid of your filler blocks and then put a redstone block right there. You're then supposed to get 4 slime blocks just like that, line them up like that, place 1 down here, and then place a regular piston right there. Then you get 2 more right here. You place a regular piston right here, and then a redstone block right here. Now, let's repeat for all 4 legs. Alright guys, so now we have all 4 legs of the machine complete. Now we can move on to the body of the machine, which is what's going to help it actually start moving in the first place. Now, in order for me not to lose my sanity, and for you guys to be able to actually know how to build this afterwards, I'm going to have to do a step-by-step process to show you guys how to build the body, because of how complicated it is. But first I can tell you, what you're going to need to do is place 3 honey blocks here and here, and that's pretty much step 1. Let's move on to step 2. Alright guys, so step number 2 is to place 2 observers right here facing upwards on both sides. Then place 2 iron blocks in between the 2, and then place 1 honey block in the middle. Alright guys, here is step number 3. It's even more important. So you need to place a couple filler blocks right here. Then place your observer right here and make sure there is 1 block of space in between the observer and the honey. You do the exact same thing for these 2 blocks of honey as well. Placing observers right in between, 1 block away from it. And that is step number 3. Alright guys, step number 4 is to place sticky pistons on the back sides of all 3 observers right here. Alright guys, so step number 5 is to place 2 sticky pistons right here. then place a block of iron, slime, and then honey to complete somewhat of a circle right here in the middle of the machine. Alright guys, step number 6 is to place 2 observers on top of these 2 sticky pistons and make sure they are facing towards the rear of the machine. Alright guys, step number 7 is to place an additional sticky piston right here above this slime block right here. Then you must place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks of honey going back towards the rear of the machine immediately behind your sticky piston. Okay guys, step number 8 is to place 1 honey block right here, right in front of this iron block. Then place an additional iron block in front of this honey block right here. And then place 1 more honey block in front of that iron block that you just placed. Alright guys, the next step is step number 9, but it's a bit more complicated. So what all you need to do is place a sticky piston right here beside this honey block, put a couple filler blocks in front of it, then place a observer facing back into the sticky piston right here, then place a couple more filler blocks on top right here, then place a observer facing your sticky piston right here, then get rid of your filler blocks right there, and that's the end of step number 9. Hey guys, so step number 10 is to place 6 more honey blocks behind these 2 sticky pistons. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you go on the opposite side and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That is step number 10. Alright guys, so step number 12 is you place 2 sticky pistons on the back of the lines of honey blocks right here. You then get out 2 honey blocks and place them in this orientation behind the 2 sticky pistons on the back of the machine. Alright guys, here's step number 13. So, to begin step number 13, you have to place 2 honey blocks in front of these 2 observers right here. Then you gotta place some filler blocks right here. In order to do this is to place 2 observers facing each other in the middle of the machine. You should see your machine move a little. That means that it's probably fine, and let's move on to step number 14. Alright guys, step number 14 is a little bit more complicated. So, in order to do this, you place a sticky piston here beside the honey block. You place 3 slime blocks and then an iron block. You then repeat this on the opposite side of the machine, like 1 sticky piston, 3 slime blocks, and then an iron block. And then next, you move on to step number 15. Alright guys, now we move on to step number 15. So to do this, you place 1 sticky piston behind your honey blocks right here as such. Then you place a line of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slime blocks behind it. You go up by 3. Then you place a observer right here facing towards the back of the machine where you place an additional sticky piston. You then get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 honey blocks in the back, just like this in this orientation. And then you move on to step number 16. Alright guys, so this is the final step for building the body of the machine. All you need to do is place a couple filler blocks up here. You then place a observer facing downward to the sticky piston right here in the machine, making sure not to activate it. And then presto, boom, you now have the entire body of your machine made to push your house complete. If you want to test it already, it should work just like this in its current state. All you would need to do is update the observer here on the front by lighting it with a flint and steel, and whenever you want to stop your machine, you just place a block of obsidian right here in front of this honey block. This is the same way you would start and stop the machine in its current state, and eventually when you decide to, put your house on it. Now, let's move on to the part that really matters, pushing your house along with it. Alright guys, sorry I made a mistake right here. This observer ain't supposed to be on top of this sticky piston right here. It's actually supposed to be a block over on the honey block. But hey, guys, take a second to fix that for yourselves, and let's move on to the next step. So the next step is you need to come over right here, right behind this sticky piston, build up a couple blocks, then put a observer right here. Make sure that it is facing towards this direction, or the arrow is pointing towards the front of the machine. Then get rid of your filler blocks, then put in 4 more observers on each side of the original one. So that's 3 and then a 4th. Then start building up layers of observers here. You need to build about 8 layers tall of these. This right here is what will allow you to actually start pushing your house forward. So let's cut to where I have all the observers placed. Alright guys, now that we got all of our observers placed, we can now move on to the next step. The next step is pretty simple, but it should take you guys a while. So you need to place 4 slime blocks like this, then 4 honey blocks just like that, then 4 slime blocks just like this. Then you place your honey and slime in an alternating pattern just like this. It's pretty simple to do, but it takes a lot of slime and a lot of honey and a lot of time to do. I know I just said it takes a lot of time to do, even though I literally am almost entirely finished with it already. But yes, you place all your honey and all your slime in an alternating pattern on the back side of the observers just like this. Next up, you need to grab a bunch of pistons and then start sticking them to every single one of the observers on the front side of the machine right here. Now let's cut to where I have all of those placed. Alright guys, now we can start to move on to the far back of the machine, which is what allows your house to move alongside with the rest of the machine. So place 4 filler blocks on both the top and the bottom of your machine right here. Get rid of the 3 middle ones, and then extend your filler block as a line across the entire machine, just like this. Then get a bunch of observers and place them just like this. That way the arrow is facing towards the front of the machine, not going down, left, or just going towards the back of the machine. And we can move on to the next step. Alright, next is to remove all of your filler blocks immediately. Do not keep them whatsoever. Then you need to get a bunch of regular pistons and then place them on the back side of your observers that you just placed. Make sure they're facing in the correct direction. I know it can be a little difficult and a little tiresome to do so, but just make sure that you pay a little extra detail and keep them facing the right direction. Alright guys, next up is to place a formation of 4 blocks of honey, 4 blocks of slime, and 4 blocks of honey again in an alternating pattern on both the top and bottom of the top and bottom rows of the observers that you just placed. Just like I'm showing you right here, this is exactly what yours should look like. Now we can move on to the next step. You need to place 3 blocks of redstone here, and then place an additional 3 blocks of redstone up here. Alright guys, so the next step is to grab your honey and slime blocks. So bring your honey up right here, and then just make a line connecting all 3 of these right here, and place 1 up in the middle. Then bring a slime block here, and basically repeat the exact same pattern right here. Then you need to grab a piston. You need to grab a couple of them. Place them here, 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 and here in the back of the machine. Then you need to get 2 blocks of redstone, place 1 here and 1 here. And then finally, the last step before putting your house on the machine is to build up an additional 2 blocks right here. And then place 2 regular pistons facing the correct direction in the back. And now you finally have the main machine ready to push your house along. Alright guys, now you're pretty much ready to start building your house, but there is something I need to tell you about it while building it. So, you have the ability to build a platform right in front of all your pistons, but there are some key things to look out for. First of all, make sure to leave a block of room right here in between your build and pistons. Make sure not to place more than 12 blocks in front of your pistons, or else they cannot push them. They won't have the power to push more than 12 blocks. Make sure not to leave any significant air gaps unless you want your build to be destroyed. I have it like here, so technically there is air in the build, but every block is being pushed by a block before it. Also, the final rule and key is to only place blocks that can be moved without breaking by a piston or a sticky piston. And to prove to you guys that this machine does work, I will pull out a flint and steel and show you guys how to light it. So, you update the block here on the bottom, and then your machine should start building. See? It starts moving the entire thing, the entire build is all moving all at once, and now you guys have yourselves an entire floating house. If you guys like today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. We're on the road to 100 subscribers, and we're aiming to reach 1,000 subscribers by Christmas this year. So, make sure to like and subscribe for today's video. And if you want to see more redstone tutorials, such as me building a redstone yacht, for example, then just make sure to leave a subscribe and like. And, most importantly, have a good day.